School Committee meeting on Tuesday, February 28th. Mrs. Pazerski, if you could please call the roll.
Ms. Stetson? Here. Ms. Boyd? Here. Mr. Greer? Mrs. Breet? And Mr. Costello?
Here. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please also join me for the Peace Builders Pledge. I am a peace builder. I pledge to praise people, to give up put-downs, to seek wise people, to notice and speak up about hurts I've caused, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. Under the open meeting law, I'm informing the public that this meeting is being videotaped by Marshfield Community Media. If anybody else is taping this meeting, either audio or video, please notify us of such at this time. Seeing none, we are down 2 members tonight. They both send their apologies, but they both had obligations that came up somewhat last minute, and they look forward to seeing us in 2 weeks at our next meeting. We're going to start with our student representatives, get you guys in and out. So the floor is yours.
Is it on? Okay.
Yes.
For the high school, we have Putting for Patients next Saturday. All the proceeds go to the Jimmy Fund. It's an 18-hole mini golf tournament that the student council runs. It's from 12 to 3 p.m. and it's $10 admission. For the middle school, the 8th grade students are holding auditions for Marshallers, which is the Marshfield High School audition-based chorus, on Thursday, March 2nd at the high school.
For MES, they have their first grade Make Way for Ducklings field trip, which is this Thursday. For South River School, they have a teachers versus students basketball game, which is going to be April 12th at 5:30 to 7:30. For Daniel Webster, they had a Spirit Week on February 13th through the 17th. They also had a Penny Wars going on during that week. February 16th at Daniel Webster, they had a dine-out night at Airport Pizza. And then for Ames Way, Thursday they have Read Across America Day. And for GWS, they have their trimester ends this Friday. And trimester 2 report cards come out on Aspen on the 17th. That's it.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Right to
Appreciate
the point.
it.
I like it. You get over to the girls' basketball game now if you want.
Yeah, that's where I'm going right now.
Nice.
All right.
USA Kick, guys.
There you go.
Have a good night.
Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Go Marshfield. Okay, we're moving into our informational period of the agenda. I'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Granatino.
Sure, just a couple quick ones. Again, as always, when we have inclement weather, I'd like to thank our custodians for making sure our buildings were ready to go this morning, as well as the DPW. They did a nice job. Obviously, we got a little less snow than expected, which was wonderful, and I know there was a lot of people out there, many of our senior students as well, in particular, that were hoping for a snow day, but we just did not get that snow to warrant anything more than a delay. So I'm glad, and I'm hoping that on June 13th, people will be really happy that we didn't have these snow days. But the DPW and the custodians did a great job. This weekend, we have our high school drama organization performing Night Witches. They're actually hosting the regional festival. They've done that a couple times since I've been here, and it's a neat thing. They have 6 other schools coming to the high school on Saturday. And they'll all be doing different performances and getting graded, and then the winning groups move on to the next level of the competition. So they're excited for that. Also, in the theater realm, had a great time between the last meeting and now watching Shrek Jr. at the middle school. It was a great performance. We had some folks in this room who had family performing, and they all did a great job. It was a lot of fun to see it. And I went to the afternoon show, and it was packed. So I can only imagine what the night shows were like. So that was great to see them in action. Just so you know, we did, myself and Mr. Miller met with both the Board of Selectmen to talk further about our South Shore Vocational Technical High School membership that we're trying to acquire. And they all also voted to support our article that we're bringing to town meeting in April Again, just a refresher for those out there, we bring forth this article that we'll discuss at the town meeting. If it passes there, it still has to pass in 6 of the 8 communities of the existing member schools of the regional vocational district. I did check, there are a couple town meetings that already have that on their warrant. The others are in the process of putting their warrant together, so they haven't been printed out yet, but they should all be getting discussed and voted on at those schools, so we could know this spring if we are in or not at the South Shore Voc, which would be great. We also met with the advisory board, and they voted to support the 3% increase to our FY24 budget that had been brought forth from the town's budgeting team. Obviously, ours was a little higher than that at 5.02. There has been a little bit of maybe a ray of hope with the governor's budget. There are some pieces in that budget that might address that out-of-district increase, that 14% increase that Marshfield and communities across the state have to weigh when they put their budget together. If they provide some support to cover that, we might be in a little bit of a better position, but I'm not sure if there's going to be a whole lot of other moving pieces coming forward. But we'll continue to meet with Mr. Moresco and his team, and if there's anything that we can grab onto and help our number, we'll do that before town meeting. Let's see what else. Oh, just MEF grants. Their grant cycle is wrapping up tomorrow night at 11:59. So those teachers out there, I think we already have about 12 grant proposals already from staff across the district, and I know that there's 1 or 2 more at least coming in tomorrow because they spoke to me about it. So that's great, and we'll be meeting with the MEF grant committee next week to look at them, make sure that if there are components of those grants that tie into our curriculum or tie into our technology plan, that we have the means to support it moving forward. And that's one of the things that they weigh when they're deciding what grants get approved or not. So, but it's always a fun time, and it moves fast. So grants close tomorrow. They'll be reviewing them with us next week. They'll probably be voting on them sometime in early April. And then we have the celebration of the grant recipients in early May, which is a fun time. And that is all. Oh, actually, just a big congrats to all of our teams that are out there. One's playing tonight. The girls' basketball team is playing. Our boys' team played last night in the States. They lost a tough match with Springfield Central, but we still have hockey playing. We have some track folks still continuing on next weekend, right, Mr. Miller? One. Okay. But we had a number that were competing at the States this past week. We have a state champion in our boys diving, Division II diving champion, Cam Pope. So that's pretty impressive. And our wrestlers, we had a number that did well in the sectionals, and gymnastics had their best year ever, I think. And they were a lot of fun to watch, and they did very well in their states last week. So it's been a good winter, and a few teams still competing, and it's just fun to see this, and the plays, the music, the sports. It's really. I mean, I know we got back to a sense of normalcy last year, but now it's just really what you want to see in the schools, and it's a lot of fun, both in the classroom and out of the classroom. So that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Granatino. I see we don't have Dr. Mark Sklar.
They could not be with us tonight yet. So
Understandable.
we had a late
Mr.
agenda, so.
Mr. Miller, your floor is yours.
2 quick items. One item that's been flying a little bit under the radar is the solar project that the town of Marshfield Town of Marshfield and the Energy Committee have been really working on, along with the Facilities Department and Fred Russell. They're managing the project. It's been ongoing for probably about over a year right now. Next Grid is the vendor. They've evaluated all 7 buildings. Presently, we're moving forward with the high school, potentially moving forward with the high school, Daniel Webster, Ames Way, South River, and Governor Winslow. So a lot of work to be done there. Facilities is determining the roofing needs at those schools as well. So there's the question of Daniel Webster and Governor Winslow roofs, and getting some modifications done there. Not necessarily an entire new roof, but some envelope work to make sure that the life expectancy of that roof will work with the solar panels on those roofs. Martinson was the primary school that we were working with originally. There's still work to be done there. The The roof load is still under analysis. There's architects presently working on that with Fred and with Fred Russell at this time. So the benefits for the district, there'll be electrical upgrades at all the schools, some major upgrades at South River, along with potential roof replacement at Martinson, and then those upgrades at Daniel Webster and Governor Winslow. And then lastly, the energy savings from the solar benefits the whole town, including the schools. So all in all, a good project. It's taking a little while, taking a little longer than we initially expected, but everything is still moving forward on that front. So eventually we'll probably have a full update when Fred just had hip surgery. So he'll be, when he gets back, we'll bring him in and have him update that, along with some other items too that are going on. The second item is our transportation contract. We had our bid opening yesterday morning. It was advertised on January 23rd. We had 7 requests from vendors for the invitation to bid. However, we only received 1 bid, as has been the last three bids. And Topman Enterprises was the only vendor that submitted a bid. So at the next meeting, we'll be bringing forth the contract for the committee to approve. The good news is that Topman continues with us. The sort of bad news is that the percentage increase in the contract is just over 20%. And if you remember correctly on the budget presentation, we were anticipating about a 10% increase. So all told, that's about a $170,000 increase. As Mr. Granatino said, the budget's could potentially go a good way on the special education tuition front, but this is going the other way. So all told, the total contract cost is about $1.8 million. As I said, that's about $170,000 more than we initially anticipated. But we're still pulling together the budget information, and we'll have more work on that front. We're definitely going to meet as a subcommittee very soon to address some of those items. And as I said, a vote to approve that transportation contract will be at the next school committee meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any subcommittee reports at this time? Okay, not so much a subcommittee report, but I do just want to let folks know, Ms. Stetson and I are both on the committee for Grad Night Live, and we're in full swing getting ready for that awesome community event that will be, believe it or not, in just over 3 months. So that's some exciting stuff. We've reached the point in the meeting for public participation. If any member of the public wishes to address the committee at this point, they are welcome to do so. Okay, seeing none, we'll move past that to our MEA update. We'll recognize MEA President, Ms. Sally Marples.
Good evening. Good evening. Sarah Marples, President of the Marshfield Education Association. Fortunately, I don't have much of an update, or I'd take Ellen's time and Mrs. Scalero's time.
We know.
But I don't have to do that. First of all, I hope everybody had a lovely vacation week. And it's nice that the good weather was then, even if it's bad that it's now. One of the things that strikes me after my years of service in the Marshfield community is the growth and the participation of the community. And there were a number of items that Mr. Superintendent Granatino addressed, and as well as, I can't remember your last name,
It's
Sean.
actually right here.
Oh,
Costello?
you noticed the
I was
glasses.
one of your students.
So, I know, don't depress me even more. And they mentioned it, and I just want to make sure we emphasize the community involvement that has made Marshfield the system it is. The Marshfield Education Foundation grants have done incredible things for this district over the years and raised a lot of money. For somebody who started in this system as the librarian, and I had zero budget for 3 years, the first 3 years I worked in this system, because the resources just weren't there. to see this growth in public participation has been so gratifying and has made it so much easier for our teachers to be able to grow and provide unique opportunities for every one of our students. And many of the Marshfield grants that have been made have grown into full curriculum projects that have benefited across the board, not just the individual teacher and the few students are there. Our Grad Night Live celebration is extremely unique on the South Shore. Other districts have tried it now and then, but Marshfield is the only one who has done it for years now and have done it incredibly successfully and with great imagination and to the benefit of our graduating students and their relatives who don't have to try to entertain them the night they graduate. It really speaks to the support that this town has for our educators, and it is very much appreciated. And it really gives our educators the opportunity to provide the best education for your students. And on an aside, I got to help my grandson build a volcano over just before vacation, which I didn't do with my own children because I was working full time. So it's the benefits of being a grandmother. And the excitement and the joy and watching him and his two friends, because it was a committee project, reminded me how important it is that we keep our children enthusiastic about learning. And our teachers do that every day, and they do it with the help of this community. So I want to thank you. I want to wish everybody a lovely second half of the year. And I want to thank the community of Marshfield for continuing to give us these opportunities to grow and expand and help our children grow. So thank you very much, and thank you for the time.
Thank you very much, Mrs.
Oh, and don't forget to get your scholarship things in, seniors.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, with the committee's consent, I'll move the minutes to the end of the meeting. And also with the committee's consent, I'd like to just take that new business item, the school committee meetings review, and push it to the next meeting when we've got all 5 of us here, if that's okay with everybody else. It's not an urgent item to act on.
You have the dates to look at.
Right.
Folder, so.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, so we've got 2 agenda items then tonight, and then I believe we'll be entering into executive session thereafter. So the first one will be the principal search updates, and I'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Granatino.
Yeah, Dr. Martin can't be here, but her principal search at the high school is going full bore with the postings closed Friday of vacation week, and I believe there are 17 or 18 candidates. So the committee, which
Actually, Ms. Dargan is here as well. She's on the committee.
Have some work to do in vetting out those candidates to see who they're bringing in to meet with the search committee in the first round of interviews, and then obviously after that there'll be recommendations for finalists to come. The final level will meet with me, but with that will also be a chance for those folks to speak with staff, and speak with parents, for parents to have and staff a chance to give their thoughts on a very simple survey after they hear the candidates speak. So it's an exciting process. It's great to see that many candidates. I was actually talking to the superintendent of the neighborhood community who had a recent principal search, and they only had 10 candidates total applied. So once scaring folks off from wanting to apply for these things, so much fun. There's no headaches ever. So I'm thrilled with the way that process is going, and the team that's reviewing the garden is awesome. A combination of parents and staff. Students, it's very important to make sure that we get that right at that level. And then at the elementary level, we have a search starting up as well with Mr. Campia. Today is his final day on books, although we had kind of like Mr. Josie a couple weeks ago, where we were celebrating all along. Mr. Campia had a chance to be celebrated quite often over at the Enjoy School in his last whole week before vacation. That was great. He's done so much for the town, but we need to fill his shoes as well. Principal Hubbard, as I spoke about before, will be chairing this search committee. We will be actually posting by the end of this week for that role, even though Ms. Mills is just starting up this week as the interim, and she'll do that through the end of this year. But the full-time search will for the replacements start this week with a posting. We will also send out a survey to parents and staff at the WAVE, just to get their thoughts on their vision of what they'd like to see in the principal, who the next person may be, as well as express their interest if they'd like to serve on the search committee. They'll have a search committee as well, a little smaller than the high school one, but the same concept, with many of the similar attributes on that process as well. So very exciting, a lot going on. We also have, I should have mentioned beforehand, the notes, the district improvement plan that we'll be working on, strategic plan with our friends from TLA. We'll be getting more information from them. I'll probably have some at the next meeting to talk about how we're going to be looking at bringing in folks to be part of that process, and those that aren't on the strategic plan team itself, there's going to be lots of opportunities to have focus groups with parents and with staff and the students and get a real feel for what we want to see moving forward in the district. So that's an exciting process as well. 3 big things going on at the same time this spring. So that's all I have right now for the research. Dr. Martin might have had a little bit more, but I'm sure there'll be a lot more information at the next meeting.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from Mr. Granatino? No? Thank you, Mr. Granatino. Excuse me. Next item is the New England Academy.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to wait. I mean, this.
I would prefer to.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we had the first read last time. It's pretty straightforward. They've met all the criteria, as I said at the last meeting with DESI. They've gotten approval from DESI. They've done all the legwork with the town itself as far as getting the building up and running and close to completion of the project on that front. So they have all of the expectations met at the state level. There's really not an alternative vote for this community to take. It just has to be taken whenever there's a private school coming into town that will give our approval of that project. So if you'd like to wait until the other members are here so it can be full vote, that's fine.
I believe that's for the best.
I think we're ahead of schedule on this front for that, so
Great.
we'll be fine with that.
Awesome. Yep, okay, we can do that as well. Any questions, comments? Thank you very much. Moving on to the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes and then 2 sets of executive session minutes. So we'll take a look first at the minutes from the January 24th meeting. And at that meeting, we had Mr. Greer was absent, and he is not with us tonight, so we can move forward with a quorum here on approving all of the sets of minutes that we have tonight. And sorry, just to note on that, Mr. Greer did arrive just a couple minutes after the start of the meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from the January 24th, 2023 meeting.
Motion has been made by Ms. Stetson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, 3-0-0. Ms. Pazerski. And we'll keep with the regular meeting minutes first and go to the February 7th meeting.
The minutes don't say that I wasn't able to speak.
Is there a motion to have Ms. Boyd's announcement stricken from the meeting minutes?
I said it doesn't say Ms. Stetson was unable to speak during this portion of the meeting. Motion to approve the minutes from February 7th, 2023.
Motion's been made by Ms. Stetson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, 3-0-0. We'll move on to the executive session meeting minutes as well, the first being from the January 24th meeting. And just a reminder to the committee, this would be a motion to approve and release.
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Stetson for approval and release. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. This is a roll call there, Mrs. Pazerski.
Ms. Stetson?
Yes.
Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes, thank you. 3-0-0. Same deal for the next executive session meeting minutes from February 7th. Again, this would be a motion to approve and release the executive session meeting minutes from February 7th.
Motion to approve and release the minutes from February 7th.
Motion's been made by Ms. Boyd. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Stetson. That would be a roll call. Thank you.
Ms. Stetson?
Yes.
Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes, thank you, 300. Okay, that is quite possibly our fastest meeting ever. Very interesting. This the final bit of the meeting is executive session. This would be a vote to enter into executive session and not to re-enter into open session thereafter. This is also requiring a motion and would be a roll call vote. Is there a motion on the floor? So moved from Ms. Stetson. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Boyd. That's a roll call. Mrs. Pazurski.
Ms. Stetson? Ms. Boyd? Mr. Costello?
Yes, thank you very much, folks.